Good evening. Today, Today I've came out to Loch Awe. As somebody camps just over there. That would explain another car that was parked up at the lay-by. Anyway, today I've came out to Loch Awe. There's a wee island in this. There's a few islands, but there's one that I want to go to that has not so much the remains of an old parish, but the leftover graves that were at one. I don't really know a huge amount about it. As far as the land of it goes, I've kind of had a wee scope about on Google Maps, and I'm thinking I'll be able to get a tent pitched in it. I hope so anyway, otherwise it's going to be a quick paddle back to get back to the car before it's dark, and we'll just set up the roof tent and come back out in the morning. It is half an hour before golden hour. The sky is completely clear, which for the end of August in Scotland is absolutely bizarre, never mind the fact it was about 26 degrees today. But I just find myself chasing after quietness. That's probably not the best word. I like to be somewhere where nobody else is about, and just now that is incredibly tough. Even the hills are pretty busy. Loch Lomond's heaving, even during the week. The schools are back. It doesn't matter because nobody's going abroad, because you've got to spunk about 500 quid or whatever on COVID tests before you go, and then when you come back, and I'm definitely far too cheap to do that. So yeah, it's getting a wee bit challenging to get some nice peace and quiet, but I suppose it's that whole thing, you can't moan about the traffic if you're also in a car sitting in it. So yeah, I'm going to paddle on because I'm very aware of my time, and this isn't exactly the quickest kayak, just with it being one of the inflatable ones, so I've whittled on far too long. I'm going to fire on. One I watch, don't know if you actually seen that, there was a wee deer in between the trees, which I wasn't expecting to see, so I'll need to keep Leto on the lead then if there's deer etc kicking about this island, which I'm surprised at because it's pretty small. It's only about, I think it's like a kilometre along, if that. When I watch straight off from the car, straight line across the island, and we've came across this cracking wee pebble beach to set up on, and just behind it there's a wee opening of grass that I should be able to fit my tent on, because I was a wee bit worried that I wasn't going to get the tent a good pitch. I'm going to jump off because the sun's setting quick and get myself set up and have a wander around the island. So I've got the tent set up just there, wee burrito face, and my kayak is just sitting drying off just now as well. Some nice golden light appearing. There's no clouds, so it's probably not going to be anything incredible. The island, I've only seen 50 square metres of it, but it looks beautiful. Lots of berries, bringing in some veg, just wild, nice and wild, really good. So I've not got time to explore it all. I have half an hour, 40 minutes of light left, so we're going to go and explore, and I'll leave my dinner until after we get back and see what we see. I'm also going to keep in mind sunset is tomorrow, but I've definitely got this island to myself. I'm pretty sure there's nobody else here. This is probably going to be one of the main beachheads I would think that people would come to, so hopefully we don't come across any strange people, which somebody on the other side of the island will be saying about me. Managed to find the old graveyard, which you can see just behind me. It's completely overgrown by ferns, as you can see if I do a wee spin. That's just a wee drainage, but so yeah, I can't really see exactly how much of it is left. There's about 3 gravestones that I can still make out. I'll probably stick the drone up so that I can see a wee bit better once I get somewhere that I can actually launch it. It's quite eerie, but if the zombies come up, I really don't think they'll manage to get through the ferns because they're too thick, so we should be safe enough, unless they're fast zombies. So I've explored the sort of western third of the island. It's as wild as I thought it was going to be. That's where the old graves are located. I'm calling them old. There was one as recent as 2005, which I was really surprised to see. I don't know if that's just been somebody that obviously the rest of their family is there, or if it's somebody just that owns the island. I have no idea. I'll Wikipedia that and see if I can find anything. There's sun's pretty much down. There wasn't much of a sunset, as I said. There was no clouds in the sky, but that doesn't bother me. I'm not hugely fussed. This hasn't really been a photo trip. It's more been a getting away from it and just having a wee bit of peace and quiet. Anyway, tomorrow I'll set the alarm so that I can get up for sunrise. Probably set it for about 5. Give me some time to get up. I've had dinner, just chicken and noodles, super exciting. And we'll just plod about until I decide it's bedtime. Hopefully get some stars out tonight, because we should have a relatively dark sky out here. We're just on the way towards Oban. If you're going west after you hit the Green Welly stop in the 82 and you can split to go north, we just fall out another half an hour, if that, maybe 20 minutes, and that's where we are now. It's obviously a fairly common spot. There's the remains of a couple of campfires, which I don't understand why, because there's one that somebody's set up with stones there, but people still need to do their own down at the beach. Further down, if there's one spot already made up, just everybody use it. And there's the leftovers of I have no idea what, because I don't know my fish. Something with a big skull and quite long that somebody must have caught and decided was their dinner. Because the scales are still sitting there as well. Yeah, so good on them, catching their own dinner. I'm not into fish, and I don't think I'm going to go hunting that deer that I saw. So the noodles will do me fine. Good morning. That was probably the worst sleep I've had in a tent in a good while. Just couldn't switch off, and that is a really small tent. It's the first time I've used it, and I'm head to toe in it, and I'm short. I'm all of 5'4" on a good day. And then I had Leto squeezed in with me as well, so yeah, it was snug. But for the size and the cost, it's all right. It's doing the job. I slept in a wee bit, but I threw the drone up right at the start, as I always do, it means you know you're getting something. And then I've hightailed it to the very east of the island, and we've just set up here to get it's okay. The composition, it's nothing great, probably never going to get printed, but it is kind of tough, I'm finding, on this wee island to get a properly nice shot. I think maybe woodland photographers would have a bit of a better time. There's lots of nice interesting trees, but that's something that I'm still trying to practice on. I've obviously already taken these shots because the sun's coming up as we speak, and I never understand why people sit and blab to the camera talking about how there's not time and they need to get this photo now. Just take the photo, do the talking bit afterwards, nobody cares. So I'm going to continue round. That's the sun basically just going to come over those two hills in the distance now anyway. So it'll be up in a matter of minutes, and I don't think I'm going to get any better light. I'll carry on round the rest of the island and see what I see. And then there's a few other wee ones in the very nearby vicinity that I might paddle over and have a wee nosy at, but before that it's definitely going to need to be breakfast for both of us. So I've retreated into the woods a bit more, just off the coastline, just for a wee bit. It's a wee bit more open, and we're starting to get this lovely golden light just beaming through the trees, which is what I quite like for the small amount of woodland stuff that I do. Is just trying to get that sunlight, if it's a fairly dense area, just cutting through certain parts of it. So it's still lovely and quiet, nobody else about. You can see some evidence of deers just where they've cut through the ferns. So there's obviously, must be at least one wee family on here. Didn't say earlier, I did get out last night just as the stars came out and got a couple of shots, but there's still quite a lot of light pollution around this area, unfortunately. I'll set the photos up and you can see them. They're nothing spectacular at all, but always nice to get some done, and that's the first star shots I've managed to get this year, with the earlier nights starting to come in, which is nice. It's all swings and roundabouts. So all packed up, you can see where the tent once was, completely gone. Fairly simple enough, fitted in the bag. Seems to be gone are the days when the tents never went back in once you got them back out. Happy enough to say that once I leave there'll not be a single trace that we're here, apart from maybe some hairs from Leto, because there'll definitely be none left from me. Lovely wee island, gonna come back in autumn. It's just a wee bit busy, feeling very dense, lots of ferns coating a lot of the island, and I think once the leaves start turning brown and those ferns start going down a wee bit, it'll be a bit more interesting. So hopefully we get a couple of dry days in autumn, but can't really guess because the summer has been basically tropical for Scotland. So going to call it there and just head back over to the car, save some of the other islands for other days. So hope you enjoyed watching me plod around this island. A wee bit of a change from Loch Awe, considerably quieter, which was nice, but there is no shop to get some ice cream afterwards. Hope you enjoyed the video. Usual stuff that everybody says. Instagram and stuff are down at the bottom if you want to see more of my photos. Thank you, goodbye.